Season 2 of On The Overrun. It's back. It's here. It's live. It's going to happen. Some thought, maybe I backed out. Maybe I was like, 60 views an episode maybe isn't good enough. But hey, we're keeping faithful. We're keeping strong. We're trusting this is going to be something huge. But to be honest, I don't really care if it's something huge or not. So welcome to On The Overrun, the podcast which is now in season 2 that aims to take you closer, immerse you into the world of cars, create a bit of passion, create appreciation for cars, why we like cars, and mainly attract you also to the people around them, because it's often the people and the stories that really make it interesting, and are often the reason why we like cars. And in this very much changing world, priorities are shifting constantly. Yes, this podcast in the greater scheme of things might not mean anything, but I also feel sometimes people need a bit of a distraction. Sometimes people need to just immerse themselves and spend time on their passion and hobby. And if you like cars, then this is definitely the right place to be, because I'm very passionate about cars and I really like to share why I have this passion. And there is a lot to share. So firstly, I want to say that in season 2, of course, you'll be seeing this face predominantly. Luke has he got a job recently, which is awesome for him, and I'm so happy for him. And he just wants to focus on that for the time being, which is 100%. But he will still very much be here in spirit, as this is where he's staying at the moment. Very cool place, especially this plant behind me, just, brings some atmosphere. But yeah, I have decided to take this forward, going solo for now. Co-host in the future, maybe. If you want to apply to be a co-host, overrunbrand@gmail.com. That's where you go. That'll be awesome. We can have a chat about that. But for now, I'll be immersing you into my passion, but also just cars in general. So today we will chat about some news, what has been happening, what is new in the car world, SUVs, supercars, hybrids, Defender alternatives, some stuff. But I firstly want to touch on how our podcast is going to be structured now. So a few things are changing. As I'm going in alone, you know this, I already told you this. But some things are changing. Our release schedule is changing quite a lot. We'll be trying to release 2 episodes, one in a week. So on Mondays and Thursdays, we'll release episodes which are, as you'll see today, also much shorter. Just because sometimes attention span is quite short and you don't really know me, so why spend 15 minutes on me? 15 minutes may be a better bet. So yeah, we're shortening the time span. We are putting out a bit more content. Every second Saturday we'll try to have a guest episode also. I keep saying we, but it's still very much we. I'm not the only one behind the scenes busy with planning, but it'll be very exciting. We'll still do same sort of content, but as we go along, we'll have to discern what works, what doesn't work. So the Peter Cruiser segment will fall away now. Something else may or may not replace it. We will see. But for now, just enjoy, just keep on listening, keep on enjoying, keep on loving cars, because that's why we're here. And on that note, I want to touch on some things that happened the past couple of weeks in the car world, which is very exciting, very interesting, and changes do happen quite often. So I want to touch on firstly the Ineos Grenadier. So we already chatted about this in season 1. This is the Defender alternative. Ineos, which is actually a chemical-based company, is now producing SUVs. Because they thought, well, the new Defender isn't just what they like. They wanted to make it something more. So they decided to build their own SUV, also built on a ladder frame chassis, the same as the G-Wagon, using the 3-liter inline-6 engines, turbo diesel and turbo petrol that BMW make. Extremely competent engines, very, very good build, very good engineering. I saw a video recently where a few people tested the Ineos Grenadier, just had a look around. They were thoroughly impressed. Well, sometimes people are thoroughly impressed when they are paid to say good things. So maybe that's a bit of irrelevant comment, but I'm very much still in favor. I'm very much still excited to see where this is going. And the release date might be somewhere middle 2022. So we'll see. But Ineos still very much has the ball in their court. So they can decide what they want to do with it. And they've started to make quite a move. They signed a memorandum with Hyundai not too long ago to help develop and progress in their proprietary fuel cell system. So there might be a hydrogen-powered Grenadier, which is interesting. Hydrogen-powered cars, which is very much a concept in the making. Hyundai does have a proprietary fuel cell system, as I said, currently used in the Hyundai Nexo, which is a hydrogen-powered SUV. At the moment, it's very much still an idea in the working. How hydrogen engines work, I can't tell you the engineering behind it, but basically hydrogen and oxygen is used to make electricity. So it's quite a complicated process, as I read, but also it's not just zero emissions like you get in electric cars. Hydrogen-powered cars often release nitrogen oxide, if I'm right, which is not good to humans. So it's still a process in the making, but it'll be cool to see how this goes. Yeah, how this comes along. I think Hyundai made a very clever strategic decision to partner with Ineos, since Ineos is a chemical company. Apparently, Ineos produces as a byproduct something like 300,000 kilograms of hydrogen. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's a lot, like really a lot of hydrogen as a byproduct. So this could definitely, move some mountains in terms of development in hydrogen cars. So we'll see how that turns out. To be honest, I thought the Ineos Grenadier may as well be electric, as some SUVs coming like the Rivian and so forth. But to be honest, we'll see. This is going to be, going to take longer than we think. Next on the list is McLaren's Artura. May or may not be derived from King Arthur, we don't know. But either way, McLaren is replacing the 570S, which is basically their baby supercar. If you want to call it a baby supercar, still a supercar. It's replacing its 570S with the new Artura. So the Artura is going to be a V6 hybrid. McLaren say every single part of this car, maybe not every single part, but majority, 99% of this car is new. Infosystem, the electronics, which is a good thing because McLaren is not known for its reliability in terms of electronics. You can all over the web see videos of cars burning down because of electrical issues, cars just stopping, doors not opening, cars not starting, a lot of issues with electric. So hopefully this is something new. McLaren also at the moment is turning upward out of a possible bankruptcy. They sold their headquarters for something like £300 million, something absurd, but basically hopefully this is a turnaround for them. So every single part is new. Engine, also V6 hybrid, as we said. It's going to be a similar setup to their usual V8s, but V6 hybrid nonetheless. New body, new carbon shell. As all McLarens have a carbon shell, basically it just helps a lot with structural rigidity, meaning the car handles very well. So, I mean, practically things that are made of metal or anything screech and turn as it goes around corners as force is exerted onto it. So a carbon body shell in a car helps it a lot with just keeping it rigid, meaning goes faster around the corners, better handling, etc., etc. So am I excited? To be honest, well, every second new car these days is a supercar. So yes, it will be exciting, but V6 hybrid technology is not a new thing. If you think of a V6 hybrid, you might as well think of the Honda NSX, the newest one, which came along in 2015. That did not make the moves or the waves that its predecessor did. Okay, but that is a story for another day. I mean, the new Honda NSX not living up to its predecessor, but yeah, it's not new technology. It's not something new, but hopefully this is better days for McLaren because they haven't had the best of weeks, years, months, the past season. So next up also, another interesting, quite controversial one is the Ferrari Purosangue or Purosangue or Purosangue. I don't know, something like that. But this is Ferrari's SUV or FUV, as some people dubbed it, the Ferrari utility vehicle. Purosangue is a name which I don't really care where it comes from. They say the engine, or they have capacity in the Purosangue for a V6 V8 and V12. Currently, Ferrari make a 6.5 liter V12, finding the Superfast, the 812 Superfast, and the GTC for Lusso, which unfortunately will be discontinued. The V8 twin turbo you find in the Roma, which is a bit of a different engine to the F8 Tributo and the Pista, and also in the Portofino. So initially I thought the Purosangue will probably just have the V8, since, well, putting a V12 in a SUV will probably make it a very heavy car. But then again, it's also Ferrari, and the SUV is made to make money, not necessarily to make people cry out of emotion. So I thought initially it'd probably be just a V8, but I can see a V6 hybrid electrified coming along. Putting a V12 in will be absolutely mad in any car lover's dream. Then again, is SUVs part of car lovers' dreams? We don't know. But it will be interesting to see if they do it, if they go through it. There's not much more known about the Purosangue. Some renders are out, some exclusive images are out, which I'll show you now. But it's very much a mix between, the Roma, the GTC for Lusso. It's something new. But interesting about the Purosangue. So I watched a video from Chris Harris not too long ago, chatting about the Purosangue, and of course he's not a massive fan of it, as most car lovers, but he said something interesting. They asked him, do you think this is sacrilege to the brand? What would Enzo Ferrari think? And he said, but no, I think Enzo would be fine with it, because Enzo was obsessed with racing. He just wanted to go racing, and that was his focus. So if anything made him cash, made him money to invest more into racing, he'd do that. So maybe this is in line with what Ferrari at the end of it wants to do. Ferrari, is based on racing, has a great heritage in racing, prides itself on racing. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how this comes along. Release date probably in the next year or two. But yeah, hopefully this makes the money that Ferrari needs to spend in the Formula One, because oh my word, has this season not been quite of a bombshell for them. Last car I want to touch on quickly is the Hurucan STO. I don't know why I did this, I'm sorry. The Hurucan STO. So it's the Hurucan STO, it stands for Super Trofeo Omologato. I'm not going to try and speak it or pronounce it in Italian. That would be sacrilege. But this is as the Performante is a track-focused Hurucan, but even more so. So Hurucan, for Lamborghini has a racing series called the Super Trofeo Racing Series. They also have a Hurucan GT3 car that also take racing, and the STO is taking a lot of inspiration from those cars and putting it in something that has number plates. So it looks wild. The color combination for the release car is wild, but that is what you expect from Lamborghini. I looked at the first photo of the STO, the renders, not the renders, rather the pre-release images that were leaked. And I just thought, looking at blue and orange color combo, I mean, that is just childish. But as Lambo is, it's all about being childish in the way they do their cars. Very much a serious car, but still it's wild, and it's all about being wild, not sophisticated in any way. So Top Gear drove it for a bit. They said it was an awesome car, rated it something like a 9 out of 10, which is, it's highly acclaimed. So it's going to be quite a good car. Limited numbers, of course, don't know how much, but it's basically a homage to the V10. So the 5.2 liter V10 that's also shared with the R8. This probably will be the last iteration that Lambo produces of the Hurucan with this engine in. Unbelievable engine. This is going to have the same power, about 470 kilowatt. The same power as the Performante. 530 Newton meters, 3 seconds to 100. Interesting about this one is that it's rear-wheel drive, but of course a lot more downforce. So something like 53% more downforce than the Performante. Also weighs 43 kilograms lighter, as you would expect from a track-focused car. But in the test Top Gear did, they said it was the most fun they had in a car in quite some time. Of course, the Lamborghini racing driver taking me around the track. It's wild. It's definitely not something that's going to be comfortable, But it's definitely something hunting down the Mercedes AMG GT Black Series that just broke the Nürburgring record. So, yeah, another car that just comes along to break a Nürburgring record. To be honest, it's getting a bit old now, but hey, like everybody likes a Nürburgring record scene being broken. So if this car can do it, go for it. Lamborghini has in the past 10 years had 3 cars, including the Performante, which broke records on the Nürburgring. Whether or not the Performante's record was viable or not, yeah, that is for you to decide. But the STO will probably go about and do it. The AMG GT Black Series is awesome. And to be honest, I don't think people who buy these cars will necessarily look at the Nürburgring record as the deciding factor or the distinguishing factor between the two. I think it's all about preference. So do you like more Mercedes? Do you like Lamborghini more? Comes down to you. So, if you've got over 10 million rand to spend on these cars, then that's your decision, that's your decision at the end of the day. Which should I choose? Probably the Lambo, because the GT Black Series sounds horrible. And we've seen on videos that unfortunately the sound isn't as great. But hey, still very much a great accomplishment by both brands for making these insanely capable cars. Although they can't be, exerted to full potential on the road, still very much insane cars. So believe it or not, that's our first episode of season 2. I told you it won't be long, but that is just to pack more into one video so that there's less rambling. Although rambling now and then is fun, I also want to make use of your time in the best way. So thank you for watching first episode. Go to our Instagram, go comment, go rant, go like some photos, go just enjoy the content, engage with us, chat about certain things, comment if you think there's anything else in the news that was quite newsworthy. We could have chatted about the Yaris GR, but time is limited, so I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for next episode coming on Thursday. Well, it's now Thursday, I don't know, sometime in the next few weeks, or sometimes in the next week, but I hope you have a good one. Thanks for joining.